Coming to the prelims part, Shashwat, that is one part where you faced failure once, prelims you were not able to qualify. And if you see this year prelims, 2023, the cutoff has gone down to 75. Essentially, the prelims is becoming tougher and tougher, or you can say that it is becoming more random. So those aspirants who are going to give the exam in 2024, what is your suggestion to them for prelims?
Sir, this is indeed true that the prelims examination is becoming very uncertain nowadays, especially with the CSAT paper also becoming very tough. And the nature of options that are coming up in the GS paper is also becoming, it requires you to know the statement rather than just know half information and eliminate it.
That is not
So
working
that
now.
is not the case now. So now 45 days are left for the prelims. My suggestion to the aspirants generally is that the first thing that they should make sure for the prelims is that they should have their standard books at bay and they should revise it multiple number of times, because it is very generic to say this, but it is actually very important
This is
when
important.
it comes to solving the papers. Why? Because the more you revise these books, the more interlinkages you can develop while solving a tough question also. You can use that basic information from where maybe there is not a direct question, but using that information, you can tackle that direct question. From
Dots
that,
will match.
the dots will match and you'll be able to interlink that.
True.
So for that, you'll have to have 4 to 5 revisions. So the second thing which I used to do is that I would analyze my test, the prelims test series very carefully. So if let's say I have made 40 questions wrong in a test, then I would analyze that how many of those are revision errors. That if I had revised, I would have not made those errors. How many of those are blunder errors? Let's say I marked A ka B, I forgot to read not, and things like that. Then I would see how many of those are undoable questions. There are some questions which you cannot do at any cost.
Cannot, yeah.
And then there are certain questions which are conceptual errors. Now, conceptual questions are those where an altogether new concept is asked. You either take a guess in that or you leave that question. So some guesses will go wrong. So I will name them as conceptual errors. So my go-to approach for analyzing the test series used to be that I would have to minimize my revision errors to 1 to 2
Yes.
in the last by the last week of the prelims. Blunder errors to 0.
Zero.
Absolutely.
Zero. Absolute zero.
Conceptual error to minimum, as minimum as possible. An undoable question I used to have a comfort कि वो नहीं solve हो सकते भाई, वो जितने पूछ लो नहीं बनेंगे. So I used to leave that. So with this approach I've had a very objective growth in the prelims का preparation across जैसे जैसे मैं revision करता जा रहा था. And I saw that मेरे
Marks
टेस्ट
में भी
में मार्क्स में भी इम्प्रूवमेंट आया, 100 तक मेरे टच कर जाते थे. एंड in the second attempt in prelims I got 117. So I somewhere tried to make the prelims process a very objective process. The second thing that I did for prelims was that though elimination method has been a bit minimized in terms of its application, it still is very relevant. So eliminating extremist statements, considering generic statements as correct, and using the logic in a specific statement to answer that option is very important. For example, in this year itself there was a question that which animal is the one who gets on the trees, creates a stick and pulls out insects out of a log of a wood. And the answer was orangutan.
Okay.
And I did that question right. So my logic was that the animal is using a lot of brain skills to create a log of wood and then pull insects out of a hole and eating it. So which animal can have that much of brain? Only the one which will be very close to human genome.
True.
And we know that chimpanzees are very close genetically to human beings. So because I knew that orangutans look like this, very much like chimpanzees, orange color chimpanzees, so that is why I marked orangutan and it went correct. So I think the logic is very important when you are solving prelims. I don't see now much difference between GS and CSAT, because in both the cases it is not just the knowledge that is tested, it is also the logic that you are applying that is being tested. And the fourth thing that I tell the aspirants is not to ignore CSAT at any cost. One should at least have practiced last 5 years all the RCs that have come in UPSC CSAT paper, because RCs have a very high accuracy rate and you can make them correct. So last year, for instance, there were 27 RCs. And I got like 23, 24 correct. So I think that gave me the first edge in CSAT. And after that, CSAT में सर क्वांट जितना भी कठिन कर लें, अगर 53 क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं और उसमें से आप 10-15 भी बना लें,
सही हो,
with your 24-23 RCs correct, you will clear the CSAT. And आप एक बेस प्रिपरेशन क्वांट की कर लें, प्रोबेबिलिटी, परमुटेशन, कॉम्बिनेशन, अलजेब्रा, अगर क्वेश्चंस आते हैं कि एक पैकेट में देयर आर 5 रेड बॉल्स 8 ब्लू बॉल्स, उसमें से निकालें तो कितने ब्लू बॉल्स की प्रोबेबिलिटी होगी, थिंग्स लाइक दैट। अगर आप इनकी तैयारी कर लें कि 2 to the power 198 का यूनिट प्लेस क्या होगा, 10 दिसंबर 2099 का क्या डे होगा, ये सारे बेसिक क्वेश्चन है जो यूपीएससी बार बार रिपीट करेगा। आप इनकी तैयारी कर लें, एक बेस क्वांट की तैयारी कर लें और आरसीज पे बहुत अपना पकड़ बना लें और टाइम मैनेजमेंट पेपर में बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज करें कि आपका पेपर छूटे ना। सो आई थिंक सीसैट वोंट बी अ शो स्टॉपर एंड जीएस में भी आपका सर कट ऑफ काफी इजीली क्लियर हो जाएगा।
It will be, and that is in fact the strategy that you shared. That is the reason your score actually jumped. It was plus 40 marks, right?
Yes, sir, in the second attempt
In
it
the
was
second
plus 40
attempt,
marks.
it was plus 40.